Hit me!
Episode 320.
You've got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
That fade is way too long. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
I like that you had the "and I'm Trent" because it went right with that repetitive little hit me that we had at the beginning. So I thought, clever
Right, yeah.
blending, sir. I'm glad you always stay on brand.
I try.
I appreciate that. I really do. If
Try.
you want to take part in the program, you can. One of many is one of them. Twitter, Trent. Why don't you tell them how they do that?
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Just use the hashtag NetHead, and then you can see the tweet that just went out. Everybody look out. Someone just fired up the NetHeads live stream, and then I am clicking retweet right now. And you can see all the stuff. Most importantly, though, you can tell us where we're wrong about things.
Yes, but like you could use the hashtag NetHead to tell Trent that I think you meant hashtag NetHeads. Can't believe
Yes.
that happened after 320 or 300 and some odd prior episodes, but
You can also use it to play show and tell with us, like Ryan Connolly did on our last episode. He has a it's so cool, sweet Thundercats logo tattoo. That's just like the Thundercats like signal that shoots up. It looks bad. Well done, longtime listener Ryan Connolly. Hashtag NetHeads.
there we go. That's beautiful. Also, I never remembered to turn on Skype, but gosh darn it, you could also try YakBet 9020 or NetHeads on air via Skype. We'll fire it up, but calls always scare me now. It's like, oh, who's coming? Not like the good old days when we first got started, Trent, and we were like hosting game shows of all the.
Yeah.
Can you believe that nonsense?
I know. Those were good times. And Francis would call in, and he and I would geek out about 1980s Fantastic Four and how influential John Byrne was into shaping the franchise into what it is today.
Yeah, man. But the whole point is, what kind of idiot in this day and age would like do a giveaway? Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, someone who is I don't know. I see a lot of Twitch gamers who are always doing giveaways, and it's a good way for them to gauge interaction with fans and get people to subscribe to their content and hopefully enjoy what they're putting out. So I guess some people are doing it.
So Trent, we're on the verge of a vector giveaway here.
You don't say. You don't say.
No, I don't. Boy, that was like Spike or volley Spike. I don't know. I'm trying to use sports metaphors. Forgive me.
For sure.
Yeah, we're still giving away the Vector robot. What originally started as a giveaway on TikTok, which you can. I'm NetheadWW on TikTok. We're giving this bad boy away. Brian Stoner is saying, "Howdy, gents, and I need my Diablo 3 for my Switch." Shh, we're not getting to that yet. And hi, Brian. Brian filled in last episode for you, good sir. Having a little discussion.
Thank you, Brian. I'm sorry.
No, it's wonderful.
I hope you're gentle.
He actually wants to come back, so it's okay.
Why?
Yeah, so we're giving this bad boy away, and the cutoff for it, I determined was actually, because first I said, hey, at 10,000 followers on TikTok, because I'm not an attractive girl that can dance or an effective lip syncer. So
Sure.
I'm like, hey, let's do this to try and facilitate followers. And we got to 10,000 much sooner than I anticipated, and then the pandemic hit. So I decided, let's make sure there's an official cutoff, and we'll make it 20,000 followers because
We got the 10.
because I'm extremely lazy, and why do extra work?
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
So anyway, so we're giving him away. But what I came up with for the TikTok people that might catch me on like a TikTok live there, I decided, you know what would be a really good idea? Let's make sure, because everything is in service. This whole, in case you guys are wondering what the nonsense is all about, I started fooling around on TikTok because I wanted to see the new platform and I wanted to see how activities can relate. What can you drive to other platforms from TikTok, et cetera, et cetera? Because everything is always about getting attention for this little thing we call a podcast. And so I figured, let's see what we could do with TikTok to do that. I didn't know how until one guy on there, I think Iron Sanctuary is the one who did it. That's his username. That's not his name in real life.
Right.
He had decided
That would
somebody.
be an awesome name if that was like your real life name, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it would be even funnier if you were misanthropic, though, right? Like your name is that you're a sanctuary, but you hate people.
That or you have an incredible name like that and you're not in professional wrestling.
Oh yes, thank you, beautifully done. Yes,
Thank you. Anyway, somebody had gifted him a laptop, so he was taking his old laptop and he was going to give it away. And then he unlocked the mystery for me. He's like, to qualify, just follow my Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube, and on my latest video say this. I'm like, well, son of a gun. If I throw subscribe to my podcast into that mix, I think we've got a successful attempt to whore ourselves out for followers. That's what I figured.
Yeah. Or if nothing else, something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about.
I love the way there's always one moment every episode, I think, you find to bring the music in your heart out to the rest of us. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So what I decided on this TikTok Live is we would give people an opportunity to join again, because when I take just the result of saying I love Vector was the key word on any of the videos, that's what we look for. And YouTube is like one of the final destinations, so I'm kind of using that as the hunting and gathering. Pick 1 point for our data to figure out if they've done the other crap too. And so I figured that's the only place we're asking them to do an extra thing of making a comment. So let's do that. And at the time I had suggested this, we're probably at only around 60 entries. And I am only like 4,000 and some odd followers away on TikTok from hitting 20,000. So there's a bit of disparity there in the numbers.
But that's like 20,000's a lot, dude. Like just as a number, that's a big number.
Yeah, but here's the thing. With that platform, the important thing to remember about TikTok is that I think it has an incredibly high populace. It also has the ability for people to very easily and passively start following someone. And
Sure,
when you look at the home screen, Trent, it's divided into two areas, essentially. That is the For You page. So that's like the algorithm is customly delivering videos you want to see. And then there's following, so the people that you follow. Right. So if you stay out of that following area altogether, you may see people you're following in the For You page, or you may see others. So it creates a very easy environment to follow somebody and not get oversaturated or annoyed by them to the point where you'd want to not follow. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Thirdly, they only like the frickin' robot, bro. Okay? But that brings me back to my point, because now I'm using it. I'm trying to do an insidious way of developing the followers that would actually be into the content I would make.
Sure.
It's like the old movie philosophy. It's like I'll do 2 for them and 1 for me, right?
Right.
Which I think that's kind of how we got a sequel to. That's how we got A Christmas Story, the original movie, because the movie Porky's was such a big hit. And that was a passion project for the director of Porky's, A Christmas Story of all things. So they're like, okay, yeah, you can do your Christmas movie and then you'll do Porky's too, right? And he's like, yeah. So this is my Porky's too? Nope. The metaphor got lost.
You know, I was always more of a Meatballs fan anyway.
Fair enough. Beast Kate on Twitter says TikTok is for children. I think that's a common misconception, but sure enough. And Brian says that's how Metallica makes albums. Possibly. I don't really remember much beyond Master of Puppets. That's just me. So anyway, I forgot what point I was trying to make. Oh, so there's a bit of a mix in the total populace of people that may like the robot and possibly want to win one. And I wanted to give people on No, what I wanted to do was come up with a way to make sure people were downloading or listening to the podcast, because then we get those numbers, right? Because I can ask people to subscribe to the podcast, but unlike any other platform, there's no username for me to attach that subscription to, and subscriber numbers fluctuate. So how do you do that? So what I figured out was, while I was doing a TikTok live, I said, here's what we'll do. I like the way I'm talking to you now, like I still haven't been telling a story up to this point. My apologies, sir.
Yeah.
But that's where I figured it out. So we've got them commenting, I love Vector and everything else. But how about a way to make sure they're listening to the podcast to earn a second entry in the giveaway? Right?
So you're doubling your odds.
Exactly. Which right now, admittedly, you're only up against 59 other people. So how do we do that, Trent? Do you have a guess on what we could do? What would you do?
Foxes, bloodhounds, heat-seeking missiles.
You know, it's the callback to the classic bits that I always love. No, my friend. What I figured out was, if we want to drive people to the podcast, all we have to do, is come up with a secret word that we only state on the podcast. We're going to do that now. So let's come up with a secret word that could come up on any tech podcast, and that way then I'll automatically give them a second entry for that thing. Because what I do... Go ahead.
Well, I was just... So essentially what you're needing is a word of the day!
Exactly. But there's no dancing furniture here, aside from the suffering and sagging of our office chairs, sir. That's the moving furniture.
There's so many groans in the chair when it's compressed as such.
I feel you, and it feels you as well. So anyway, we just need to come up with that word, and I think I already know the perfect word. Are you ready for it?
Hit me.
So that's what you do, folks. And now we're back on YouTube. Look, you see that? I used technology to benefit us. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's weird that we can do that.
Oh, I know, but hey, it's cool. It's cool to me. I like it. So anyway, there we go. So we took care of that part of business, and you can have a chance to win your very own Vector robot. This one is just sleeping. Way to go, buddy. Really cash in on the spotlight there. Thanks for that. Anyway. So I should also... Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
you hang up.
No.
No, I was just gonna. This is not related to what you were talking about, so you should finish.
Oh, I think I was already transitioned. I was just gonna say I owe you an explanation, because we've been on air now for I don't know how many minutes, and I didn't explain to you why I'm doing this, and I almost feel in a way I need to say it every episode.
Or maybe wait till the end now.
That would be cruel. No, for those that can't see, what I made the mistake of, I was experiencing a lot of anxiety and a lot of personal frustration over the lack of adoption of wearing facial coverings in public. It's one of the simplest things we can do, and to make sure I was doing as much as I could to normalize masks being used. I said, anytime you see me doing something that's got a video or a picture for, like, I say my typical social media shenanigans, not like my family photos and stuff.
Right.
But if you see me online, I'm going to be wearing a mask. That way I am telling everyone, I'm not necessarily, Beastkate says I'm covering my herpes. Thank you. That too. It's great to cover an outbreak. So yeah, I'm just wearing a face mask to normalize the appearance of masks being worn, and also to demonstrate for all the anti-maskers that you can sit here and talk and talk and talk and talk and not lose any oxygen.
The oxygen supply is they're dragging on a cigarette.
Yeah. And so I've been saying the same thing I think we said together on the last episode, which is, just be a hero, wear a mask, save lives.
Yeah. It's not that hard.
And plus, I look, if you need a mask, let me know. I've got this really cool space pattern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the fabric you're using is really nice too. It's soft. And I was highly impressed earlier before when we started just how the sound isn't nearly as compressed and stopped by your mask, as I've seen with others, especially in like news interviews, etc.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I should, I'll include a link in the description, but if you go to bit.ly/, capital B for best, capital F for fit, capital M for mask, so best fit mask, but capitalize those first letters, and you can get the pattern that I got here, and it's great because it's just got 2 angled cuts, so it creates a natural curve just at the chin. It creates a natural bridge, so that way the fabric isn't being pulled taut against my nose. It's being, thankfully, thankfully my nose and my chin stick out enough, I guess is the point. You know, if you're one of the people that doesn't have much of a chin, I don't know if this would help, but it does the thing that other, like the N95 masks do, at least giving you a little extra space. And if I get close to the microphone, the only thing you have to put up with now is the horrible tendency I have to stop and inhale because I'm not getting an easy flow back in.
Yeah.
But I can still keep doing this is the point. I'm not impacted.
And it's funny, while you were talking about the mask design, I was focusing very much on listening, right, to what's coming through.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, for a podcaster, pretty ingenious because you've got an automatic compressor, right? Because it's limiting the height that your voice, the level that can come out, and so that's forcing you to project your lower leveled frequencies more than you normally would, and it's doing a plosive filter at the same time.
Peter Pepper, peppers.
And any de-reverb that you might have to do in post is taken care of as well, because the sound can only travel so far that you're not getting, like, it's kind of like it's just wearing like a pop filter on your face. If you're a podcaster and you're anti-masking, you hate what you do. Plus,
you got to admit, it now really makes an interesting bit for the YouTube thumbnail, because there's always this. What is this? Some bald hippie nerd with a space mask on?
Is he going to tell us what our signs are today? And
by the way,
and if Leo is in retrograde or not?
I'm going to ask you to do something. I hope it doesn't in any way break the broadcast, but I want your reaction, okay? Because I would like, if you don't mind, to go to our YouTube channel, because I want to discuss a little creative problem I have created with our new lower thirds.
Okay.
So if you could just pull it up, let me know when you're looking at the latest thumbnail. It's probably me sitting, big picture. You've got Brian above my shoulder.
Brian, your top right,
and down to what is on the lower right of the picture. Or in the case of mine, it's the lower, to my, it looks like my left. But anyway, it's
stage left.
Stage left, or everyone else's right. And you notice I'm doing that YouTube thumbnail thing of giving myself the white border around me, right?
Yeah.
That logo design is really good until you also emphasize it with a white border. I never realized just how, let me go to you for reaction now for the revelation. I never realized just how fallacy and accentuating other items that logo really is until you emphasize the hell out of it. That lower third, are you seeing it now?
Yep. I see it. Yeah. I mean, you know,
there's no clean way to put it, guys. I came up with a wonderful design, and it's interesting that to a man, the most attractive design I could find was essentially a phallus.
Yeah, well, I would like to think that that's just a Freudian slip is all that is.
It's more than a slip.
Sorry. I guess it's the Freudian tip.
I saw that and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And suddenly I'm having to re-isolate it in the background and apply it as a layer over the white border so that way it's breaking it up. So it's not quite so looking like I've got a dick growing out of my left arm.
Yeah.
You know, some things look good.
Yeah. Well, you know.
But the practical application just isn't there. Sorry, I just had to share that with you. So, hey, man, what's new with you?
Oh, dude. Last week, Tuesday morning, I woke up with pneumonia-like symptoms.
Are you kidding me?
Like I felt like there was like congestion and fluid in my lungs, and I was coughing, and I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was scared to death, dude. Like, oh shit.
Don't blame you.
This is it. This is the big one.
As the kids are saying, this is the Rona.
The Rona? I don't get the reference.
Coronavirus.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, the Rona. Yeah. Well, it wasn't my Sharona, that's for sure. But yeah, so I freaked out, and the Instacare, there's an Instacare facility. It's like a hospital light just near my house. So I went down there, and right when you go in, there's someone standing out front before you even letting you in, and says, "What are we seeing you for today?" And I said, "Well, symptoms of coronavirus." And she said, "Okay, you're gonna have to go somewhere else for testing then." And it's in a completely different city. It's like 10 miles away. Get in the car. I go there, and holy shit, tip of the hat to these folks, because it was like 92 degrees that day, just hot as balls. And there was a dude, it was another Instacare. Basically, you drove up, and you had to wait until there was a parking stall available in the parking lot, because there were a ton of people getting tested. Once that's available, you drive in, go to your parking stall, someone comes over, and you fill out the paperwork. It's super simple, basically just one signature. And then after that, you go through the drive-through of the tent, where they have like the full-on like nurse practitioner in a, like, I call it the Outbreak suit from the Outbreak movie,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I'm with you.
Like full-on like monkey virus prevention stuff. Did it, and she said, "Okay, thanks." 2 days later, I checked the app that they have. Coronavirus tested negative, and by Thursday, I was feeling a lot better. So I don't know what it was. Maybe it was psychosomatic. I don't know, but I did not have it. But I could not be more relieved at how simple the process was of being tested.
Was that? Did you get the in the nose one though?
Yeah.
And what is that experience like?
Well, so 2 years ago, I had nose surgery.
Oh, that's right.
And so it honestly wasn't. It was not bad at all. I like, and since then, like I regularly go through a pretty intensive couple times a week cleaning of my nasal cavity. But I'll tell you what, they're not lying when it's like a no shit 7-inch long Q-tip that you just tilt your head back and they just go straight back and then come right back out. It was so gross just to look at it afterward, just covered in like green goo.
Oh, dude. I know what you mean, because this is one of those little wireless endoscopes with a little spoon on the end.
Yeah.
Because my youngest has got dry earwax, so we have to use these drops to essentially moisturize them.
Huh?
And this is the easiest way to get the wax out safely, because it's the same thing the doctors do. And that going inside somebody's ear is already terrifying, but then thinking that you're coming out with the remnants of a sick individual as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A nice little hack, though, for people who do have hard earwax. I'm one of them. If you're a side sleeper, when you wake up in the morning, if you've been laying on that side, it softens all the wax up from the heat generated from everything, and it's a lot easier to clean out that way too. Anyway,
just give the ear a little jiggle in the morning.
Yeah, well, it's easier to scrape out. It's like regular earwax at that point.
Fair enough. Good. Tom Sherlock pointing out something interesting. I think we may as well mention it, and that is it's opening day. Let's talk baseball. It's like he's going right for the vein of the things I don't know in life.
Well, go grab your wife, man.
Actually, there were 2 exhibition games. It was the Giants versus the A's, and then yesterday it was the Giants at the Dodgers. I don't know if it's the Dodgers at the Giants today or what, but
so is that a big rivalry for California?
Yeah, that's why I keep coming back to it. So yeah,
okay, I would assume it would be one. That yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the history of it. I'm lucky to understand the concept of an RBI. I think I finally learned that one a few days
Dude,
ago.
in that same vein, have you watched Brockmire?
Still haven't. I know I should. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, watching that makes me want to want to invest time into baseball.
Well, I will admit, of all the sports, at least it's one of the most direct. Even though there are things conceptually I don't understand. Why must the first foul ball hit by a batter be considered a strike, for example? That really reeks of let's speed up this gameplay thing by automatically giving them a strike for that one.
Well, if they really, so there's 99% Invisible did one of the best episodes they've done, an episode about the shot clock in basketball, and how the national championship game in like 55 wasn't even televised because no one watched basketball at that time because it was a defensive game. There was no shot clock. And so once you got up by 10 points, you just passed the ball around the rest of the game and didn't even try to score. But when they implemented the shot clock, the game started going faster. It changed everything about it. And there are a lot of people who make this the argument for there to be a batting or pitching clock in baseball.
Yeah, speed of gameplay. That's what it's all about. So
yeah,
probably onto something there. But anyway, the interesting thing that at least has been happening, I'm not going to get into the political stuff, but in relation to them being able to do the sports ball and still make it fun for the fans, like all the games I've watched, even though there's no people in the stadiums, they're piping in crowd noise.
Which is something they pulled directly from professional wrestling.
And then they are also, this is a cute idea, and it's something I think the wife and I are going to do for a very nominal fee. You can send in a picture of yourself, and they do a life-size cutout of you to be sitting in the stands.
Oh, that's cool.
And in certain stadiums, if a ball is hit into the stands and it hits your cutout, you get the ball.
Oh man, that's rad.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea. So that's an interesting way to kind of bring sports to us. My whole thing is I want them to make sure everybody's being as safe as possible because it's a lot to ask people to risk their health to bring us entertainment.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And all the motorsports are doing the same thing, racing without any fans or crowds around, which it's interesting because and for MotoGP, which I follow, they were talking about how it may not affect you at home because for motorsports you're watching the race the whole time anyway, but for them as the broadcasters, they just kept on talking about how eerie it was to be in this enormous place. Like a lot of these venues are housing 40 to 50,000 people every single race, and to just have the teams there and no one else, they just said it was the most bizarre, unreal feeling they've ever had in their careers.
For them, it's got to be kind of like, hey, why is this practice being considered a competition?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could get that, but yeah, I've seen the chatter about the NASCAR happening, and that's cool. I mean, it's a lot better than I think. Formula Racing may have been running simulators in the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, they did. And MotoGP did too, and it was really funny because I watched some of them, and they were doing first they started just doing actual races, video game wise, right? Like F1 2020, MotoGP 2020, and then just recently a YouTube channel that I follow was hired by them, and he does races of marbles, and they're super well done. They hired him and they started broadcasting his stuff.
Dude, are you talking about Jelly's marble races or somebody else? Because now it's officially last week's tonight's Jelly marble races for 2020.
There you go, man.
I am embarrassed to admit just how captivating those marble videos can be.
Good, right? And the commentary is great, and the camera setup and everything. And he's done Marble Olympics, which are really fun too. So they'll have the high jump and the water sports and all that other stuff. And then you go even farther down this rabbit hole, and there is people doing the same thing who have built rally tracks, scaled rally tracks, and then they're running diecast cars down them and doing the same thing. Like, really, really cool stuff.
I gotta admit too, it is shocking the production value on those marble
Yes.
races, because it's like if it's a distance or a distance pushing event, you've got the two views. You've got the side view, you've got the overhead competitive view.
Like there's so much work going into each and every one, and it shows, right? It shows just how good it is and entertaining it is.
Well, part that I'm sure you have to appreciate, seeing as how you yourself are a professional sports commentator, the commentating on it is great. So much so that they take note of and they call back to previous competitions and previous performance of particular marble teams, and you're like, they have built their own mythology here.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's freaking brilliant. And I will say, as I found, it is so much easier to do commentary in post. Because then when you mess up, you can stop and just jump back 30 seconds and keep going.
Yeah.
And so you lose a lot of the filler words that laymen who aren't trained in like, because it is a full on like art to be able to be Phil Liggett, right? The guy that would call the Tour de France. Like, you could just listen to him forever. And baseball's the same way. Guys, those guys are able to tell a story through numbers and just captivate listeners at home. But for the layman, doing it in post makes it a bazillion times better. May not be easier, but definitely better.
Well, it's kind of like how even this is something you can apply to any level of production. For example, the day that we reconciled the fact that the YouTube product, any of the video products, right? This is more like a behind the scenes first draft of what eventually becomes a podcast, right?
Right.
I'm able to take out any flubs. That awkward moment we had where like, no, you go. That doesn't even have to exist, because I'm doing, some modifications, some changes here and there.
Right.
And so it's there really is a lot of credit and a lot of work that goes into post-production. It's what I'm getting at. And it's got its benefits, and the reason why we insist on doing this live the way we do is kind of beyond me at times, but it's also part of the fun, and it calls back to the things I used to do. And there's a little certain discipline that you get when you go live, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you have to think on your feet. You have to have cues. Like, none of you know I had a coughing fit because my throat was dry. But Trent filled right on because he saw me do the hand signal, Anyway, the whole point is, though, post-production, something like that, you can keep it nice and tight, and you can keep the audience engaged, which is what these things do. Your wrestling videos do. It's all just right on point.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, I was explaining to some folks because like it is going on television, but the product that we put out for wrestling is not even close to being television ready as far as like a show goes. Because it is not even close to being tight enough, having everyone together timing wise and being able to reach the time max that we have. It's all fixed in post. So it is a television product because it's post. If it was mixed live, there's no way it's not even close to that.
No. And ideally, actually, it's not something you want. You don't want to see all the setup in between. You don't want to see all this. No. You don't want to see all that. There are some things that lend themselves well to live, some things that don't. But I both love and hate when there's post-production work to be done on something, I guess is the point. I can't even imagine, even though we do this regularly, I can't even imagine continuously having to come up with the narrative about what's going on while it's happening. So my hat's off to you on that one.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And that's getting back to the point. Somehow the marble races guy does the hell out of that as well.
Yeah, he freaking crushes it, man. He's so good.
And they just everything is so goddamn serious. And they even add an interactive element where you got to find this one wild marble that's somewhere in the crowd, and they tell you ahead of time the level of difficulty in trying to spot them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, they're crushing it.
Yeah, except my wife walks in the room. What are you watching? Like marble races?
Yeah, no. So that's what happened to me too. I came in the house and my roommate was watching it, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this, man?" And he's like, "Marble race." I'm like, "Oh, this is so dumb." I sit down, and by 10 minutes into it, I'm like, "Oh shit, this is amazing."
Right? You're like the wild cat eyes, man. Yeah, bring it, boys. What the funniest part is now that, seeing last week tonight tweeting about that. Like, we're off this week, but if you haven't watched, catch up on such and such Marble Racers, such and such is just tearing it up. It's like, wow. And that's something that somebody, I'm guessing, was just like a passion project originally, right?
Yeah, probably something just like did like once, and people are like, "Well, this is really good. You should do more." And then just I don't know. I mean, that would I would listen to the shit out of a podcast of his origin story.
Here's the funny thing, though, that we all know happens behind the scenes. Think of how many podcasts probably reached out and annoyed the hell out of Last Week Tonight saying, if you're sponsoring content.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, though, because like this dude was contacted by the biggest motorsport association in the world, right, to develop content for them. So I'm sure he's got to have a publicist by now.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you're on to something there. Anyway, Trent, what else has gone on since we last talked?
Yeah, what's happening?
I did something stupid. I got a Nintendo Switch.
This is not stupid. This is fantastic.
I'm glad you think so. So far, I have patched it. I have created my account on it. And that's it. And I've had it for over 24 hours.
Oh, so just 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those things where I guess I started getting FOMO, or I wanted to be like hip with the kids and their Animal Crossings.
Yeah. Well, apparently I'm the only person in the world that has never played Animal Crossing.
No, I haven't either. I've got it loaded on here, but I haven't played it yet. And but Trent, I got to find out what all this turnip business is about. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying.
Exactly. I'm just talking words I've heard other people say. But I have to say, really, really cool. I thought it was cool when the product came out, but when you get to hold it in your hands and then you realize I can dock this and play it on a television, that's really cool. And I tried to set myself up for success. Like I said, I got Animal Crossing. I also got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I haven't played it. Watched someone play it. Loved it.
And Mario Kart Deluxe 8. So,
Ooh.
Funny thing, though, in looking at accessories, like I found a really cheap, silly accessory because the controllers are these the Joy-Cons here, right? And they're tiny.
Well, which I would say just go out and buy the regular controllers.
Well, I would too, but if you're playing,
I hate Joy-Cons so much.
If you're playing Mario Kart, however, this is the controller.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd be cute because I found a really cheap accessory, which was 2 steering wheel add-ons.
Nice.
But I didn't pay attention to the dimensions, Trent.
Uh-oh. How small are they?
It's literally it looks like I'm trying to hold a donut.
Are you doing it with your fingers? You're like just rolling back and forth with your fingers?
I haven't played the game yet, but I'm assuming, yes, I would be like this and it would look stupid. But, that's what happens when you have more than one player. So at least that's what I'm assuming. So I did do this. If anybody wants to know how I did it, first of all, I think Switch availability is increasing. So if you've been frustrated and you have been wanting to get a Switch, but you haven't been able to locate one, that may very soon be alleviated. If you don't want to take a risk to go out and to find a Switch yourself, instead you want to try and order online, the simple trick that I did was to follow a Twitter account. I can't remember the name of the account itself, but it goes by the handle of Cheap Ass Games or something along those lines. Okay. And they tweet out product availability and cool stuff and games on sale and the like. And that's how I got this. I follow them. And that's how I ended. They're like, at one point, it's like, Best Buy has them in stock. And I'm like, oh, really? And I click it, and they were, and then like an idiot about it.
I think one of the most enjoyable games I've played on the Switch is a game called ARMS.
Mm-hmm.
it's a boxing game, but your arms are spring loaded. And so like wherever you're at in the arena that you're boxing, depending on which arm you've chosen to arm yourself with and your character stats, you're throwing punches at each other from all the way across. And so you have to get the arcs right. And it is a fun game. It's a ton of fun. But for like one player games, I could play that all day.
I also heard that there's a really fun drumming game.
Oh.
Which kind of makes sense. Chuck in the Facebook chat is saying, get a game controller. Those Joy-Cons mess up leads to drag. Oh, and leads to drag. So in other words, you're getting a laggy response on movement. I actually did buy a third-party aftermarket regular controller as well, figuring that way I could have up to at least 3 people playing at once.
Yeah, good.
For any joint game. So I did think of that too. Thank you, though. I appreciate you looking out for me. Now, the question is it dumb for a 49-year-old to be getting one of these?
No, not at all. Not in the least bit.
The only thing I can tell you guys is if I have bought one, congratulations, the next thing is coming out in a few months. You right?
Yeah, I don't even know what they have planned because I know, Sony and Microsoft have announced their new stuff, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything from Nintendo yet. I guess
they're almost
like their last release.
I almost feel like they are like a niche or a boutique gaming company now, in a way.
Yeah.
And recently, the other thing that you can find is the Switch Lights, which are just strictly
that's perfect for me.
Control. Yeah, those are what Traveler and Control. You're never going to hook it up to a TV. That's how you're gaming. Less money. And higher availability. You can still find those.
The same games. Like I love my DS2 XL, but the games there's just hardly any. Well, let me rephrase that. And this is where you're right in Nintendo is being very successful in knowing their audience because it releases even for the DS. There are a bazillion games that come out every year, but they're all JMRPGs, right? So and they sell a shitload of them for people that are playing the Japanese role-playing games. But other than that, the releases are not, plentiful. So with the Switch Lite, you can finally get actual Switch games and still sit in your recliner and watch TV and play video games at the same time.
Exactly. And my other point about that is that obviously with coming out with the Lite, that's Nintendo doubling down on the platform for now.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
yep.
The only other thing I think I need to do to make sure that use gets balanced, because I'm sure now that I've made this mistake, there's probably going to be some, at least one probably Nintendo Switch Lite purchase in my future to keep people with their hands off my stuff.
Yep. I think that's fine.
The other thing I want to do, because it's just a couple bucks, is to get a second dock. So that way I can just have a dock here in the office, because everyone else has a 60-inch screen in their office, douche. And then one for the family room, you know what I mean? So that way you can dock it for everybody or you can dock it for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's my plan.
Has anyone tweeted or anything in as to what games they're playing on the no, not yet. No,
Mario Kart 8, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Actually, there was another. I think I saw that Paper Mario Origami something or other, Origami Master or something like that, is on sale right now for like $12 as well. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then I'm very interested to see what other games are available on the platform. But what I also need to hurry up and get my order in for is my current favorite game, because it is way up to my speed, and that is Jay and Silent Bob's Mall Brawl.
Which is on the Switch. Yeah, I saw that.
So I need to get my Switch version of that, but I also do have the Steam version of it. And believe it or not, I went on Twitch, Trent, and I played Mall Brawl. That's what I did.
Oh, nice.
Amazingly fun, very painless. So what I've decided that I'm going to do sometime in the next week, like I said, I have not played Animal Crossing yet, but I figured what I should do is I should save it to where I can stream the activity on the Switch, and we can all watch me just stumble through Animal Crossing together via the NetHeads Twitch.
Yes, I am okay with this.
Yeah, so that's probably what we're going to do. I think that's the way I'm gonna go. Actually, it'd be very easy to do because all I have to do is switch from the cam 4K being my camera.
Yeah.
Just use a webcam. Blah blah blah. Nobody wants to hear the tech stuff.
So Will, just a question for you, and I'm tying this into a comment.
Why you got to bring a knife into this, man?
So yeah, I've just had it here, like plain. I just always have one in my pocket, so it's
all right. Believe me, I'm listening. You've got my attention. Okay.
I will cut you.
No, you won't. I'm like hundreds of miles away.
I will cut the bit rate of my data transfer.
That makes more sense, but less sense at the same time.
So you have a Darth Vader mask, and Bob Williams says that he's got himself a Batman logo mask, and he has, he's been prone to falling into a Christian Bale voice, when he's wearing said Batman mask. Do you do James Earl Jones voice when you're in the Darth?
No, because no human being other than he can sound that way, and everything is just a mockery of it.
Oh,
in my opinion, you know what I mean?
enough.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can give a really, and I can't right now, but I could give a really crappy rendition of, I am your father. But no, I'm not even going to get that close. Because no, I'm not going to.
What if you had a Nolan's Bane mask?
Well, because of the close affiliation with Kevin, the thing that you need to know is that if you want to do a Bane voice, you just need to do this, or you get like this. Nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. So then you can start talking like this. But I'm not even close.
Sure.
Oddly enough, I think Kevin Smith does a much better Bane impression. I think, embarrassingly, like the ones I gravitate to are more to the things that I was copying as a child because I wanted to be the next Mel Blanc, And
oh yeah,
where was the kaboom? There should have been an earth-shattering kaboom. Yeah,
that's actually spot on, Marvin.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Let's not go crazy.
Sure.
But things that fall in that range, I can definitely hit just fine. Anyway, anything else going on with you, man? Anything going on in your world?
The only other new thing in my world is I just picked up. It's a like a mini ENG camera from Sony, the PZ90. I'm really excited about it. Haven't used it yet. Just arrived yesterday. Bought it used, and yeah, man, it's cameras are so funny right now because DSLRs have really changed just the game in the way cameras are made and how they're used, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I have found that you can get so lost in post-production with all the raw features of DSLR cameras that it takes so much more time that I'm still stuck to more traditional ENG style video cameras. And so as long as they're still available, I will still be buying them. I'm excited to try this one out. I will let you guys know next time.
Question, what is an ENG camera?
Oh yeah, ENG. I mean, it originally comes from electronic news gathering, but now it's just the way you describe any broadcast quality non-DSLR video camera.
Okay, so not necessarily considering it has to be like a shoulder mount, but
exactly. Yep. Yeah. So the one I just bought is a handheld camera. So, but it still would be considered an ENG because you could do film, like its specs are high enough to be broadcast quality and not like consumer quality.
So what do you do when you shoot with something like that? Do you have any? I'm such a douche. When I think shooting with a camera, I still think you got to have something on your shoulder to stabilize when you're going like motion. So do you just throw it on sticks, or what do you do when you have to go mobile with it?
Oh yeah. Definitely like throw it on sticks. And then I have an NX100 too that I have, and it's a handheld. It's a little bit bigger though. But even with the DSLRs, when people are shooting stuff with DSLRs, there is, oh my God, And this is where a lot of people make fun of those who are using DSLRs because of this product. They just call it a rig, or a cage, and it's basically a base that you mount your DSLR onto, and then from there you can add all the accessories you want, right? So you can add on extenders for a really long lens, and then you can add on a shoulder mount so that it'll fit on your shoulder. But once it's on your shoulder and it's a DSLR and you've already mounted now a second monitor so that you can see off of it, you have no way to zoom and focus. So then you have to add 2 hand grips, and then you have to add a separate zoom on your right hand, and then your focus on your left hand. And so you end up, yes, you're using a DSLR, but the contraption that you've built is just monstrous.
I honestly speaking, I was wondering if you were giving me a legitimate sentence and breakdown, or if you were just like throwing out all this technical jargon, waiting to see if I would stop you. You know what I mean?
No, it is a for real thing. Like it's crazy. But the thing is, with the DSLR, you have the capability of shooting in RAW, which gives an alpha to the information, so you can change the coloring and the lighting and make it look completely looks very cinematic.
I swear to God, you're doing it again. Really?
Sorry.
No?
Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, next week I'll let you know how my new camera works.
Awesome. Actually, can I tell? I don't know if this is an industry secret, but if I could tell you an interesting hack that Josh Roush came up with. He shoots with a DSLR as well, and what he did is he put a custom 4-pronged mini pivot swivel foot on a unipod.
Yeah.
So that way he's able to pick up and move and then instantly be stable but versatile.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I thought that was really cool. I as a matter of fact, I sort of stole the idea when I shot the hand signing ceremony for Kevin's Facebook page.
Yeah.
I had a monopod, so that way I could just focus on holding one stick instead of trying to hold up my goddamn arm the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gosh.
You can always tell somebody that's used to shooting, because they're going to have a larger muscle from here all the way down.
Yep. Yeah.
Instead of just the bicep, right?
And they're always just going to be standing like this because their arms their right shoulder is so tired.
They've just killed so many nerves till this point. Oh man. Anyway, boy, I got to ask you, Trent, just because this is like one of those things that's popping into my head, rather than all that crap we talked about talking about before we started. Have you been watching the current season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are you? No, you're behind on that one, right?
Yeah, I'm behind. Like, I always watch it once it's over.
Okay, because oh my gosh, the funniest thing about that show was the fact that it exists in the Marvel universe, and they set that up in the beginning. It's
right.
Like it exists in the MCU, and then at one point early on there was integration. You had characters from the movies show up on the show, including, I think, first season they even had eye patch guy. Why do I always blank on his name when we're on the air?
Played by Samuel Jackson.
Nick Fury. He even appeared on the show, right, and officially made Coulson the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this stuff. It was very interesting to see what they would do, considering they exist in that universe, and you've got this entire situation with Thanos' snap and the 5 years and the heroes and, where was the S.H.I.E.L.D. team the whole time kind of thing? Where were these guys? And this season, they've gone with a time-hopping narrative, and they have. I wouldn't say it's glib or as comedic as like Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay,
but it has certain elements of that. But also, it's genius because they are hopping through time, completely separate and before any of the last 2 movie events have happened. It's a genius way to separate it and tell their own story. But even better, I have to say, is just it is an extremely well-told story so far. I think it's only been 8 or 9 episodes of a 13-episode season so far. And every episode, they just keep upping the severity and the stakes and the what-the-hell moments. It is genius storytelling, and I'm happy that in any way, shape, or form in the past I had any association with Jed Whedon, because
Yeah.
I hope he gets the vibes that I love what they are doing now, is all I can say.
In that same vein of people that you've had, well, I haven't worked with this person, but people that you support and follow their work and may not be known to the whole world. Stargirl on CW, so good, so freaking good. And James Robinson, the guy who created and did like all the Starman comics and everything, working on the project. It's another one that like is spot on. Oh, and Doom Patrol. Second season of Doom Patrol is out on the DC app.
Oh wow, yeah. I told you about the entire. Did I tell you about the cell phone debacle with Emily's
Yes.
phone?
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay.
Break my heart.
So that came with the free subscription to HBO Max. So I know
Yeah,
Doom
yeah.
Patrol season 1 is available to me. I still haven't watched it.
Oh, you will love it, dude. It is so good.
But I completely agree with CW Stargirl. The only thing I will say is I've only seen the first 4 episodes so far because I've just been really busy. So it's like I've made time to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I literally think that's my only appointment TV.
Right.
And Blair is watching Stargirl with me, my youngest, my
Oh, nice.
6-year-old.
Yeah.
Which is okay, except it does have some slightly more mature elements that freak her out.
Yes.
So, it's kind of like been hit or miss in getting her engaged with it. But I really like what I saw. The funny thing is, you can tell that it was made for the DC Universe app, and then they decided to put it on the CW because it has some more. It has that different, that other than the CW vibe, I guess, is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. It feels like it's playing to a fan, like a fan audience, as opposed to the general CW demographic.
Let me guess. That's kind of the exact same vibe that Doom Patrol has too.
Oh, Doom Patrol is so inside baseball. They break there's a character that can break the fourth wall and does the narration, and he addresses, so you came back for the second episode, so you're either a troll or one of those really odd diehard Grant Morrison fans.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is genius.
It's great. It's really good.
That is sweet. I really got to check that out, man. Also, for those of you that are looking forward to it, now we are even closer to the next season of Lucifer on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
So be sure to check that out. I think it's August 21st that it comes out. And we finally got a trailer for it where it looks like Lucifer comes back, but it's his twin brother, Michael. I love the way they play with the theological stuff. But it's really, really good stuff. Really fun. Check that out. Anyway, Trent, I'm done. I'm spent. I'm ready to go.
I don't have a cigarette.
I don't do that. But...
Well, I just, when it helps to, in the afterglow, sometimes it helps calm you down.
Wow, was that good for you?
Well, I mean, sure.
Okay, that's the response I'm used to. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Always appreciated. If you want to check out more about me or Trent, go to netheadsonair.com. There's a link to everything there that's relevant, and I'll make a mental note to have Trent give me the updated information he wants people to make sure we link to his stuff from there as well. That was a very detailed description that I don't think the general audience needed to hear, but...
Sure.
At least now I'm on record. But otherwise, I'm NetheadWW on Twitter. Trent is a part of him, the show NetHeads on Air. And until next time, as we like to say here, Trent, we'll be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
Okay, I'm confused on one point. Are you just making a commentary to handheld gaming in general, or do you have a Switch Lite?
Well, no, I have a Nintendo 2DS XL.
Okay,
but
all
I
right.
want Switch Lite.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah.
That's interesting because I know there's money in the NetHeads Patreon account, and somebody's got a birthday coming up.
Oh well, no, stop, no, don't do that. Now I'm blushing. Stop. I'm on camera, Will. Don't do that.